Hello, welcome back to the Confluence Tap Room for another Beer a Week release video. I'm Josh, production manager here, and I'm joined by Kevin Rutan from West Des Moines, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
And Kevin is joining us because this is not just any beer release week, this is a special collab that we do not quite every year. There's a few years off, but we do a Wort Challenge collab with the IBU Homebrewers Club here, and we will create an unfermented, unboiled wort, put it in a tank, keep it cold, package it all out the next day in 5-gallon batches to the Homebrew Club. They take it home, they do whatever they want with it, and bring it back when it's done. And then we judge it all as a production crew, find the one we like the best, and we scale it up to brew it on the commercial scale. It's a fun collaboration. We really enjoy collaborating with the homebrewers here. The IBU produces a lot of fantastic beers, and the winner this year was Kevin. Kevin, you want to talk about your beer?
Sure. So this is a Hazy coffee IPA. The wort I thought was kind of lended itself. It's the bright golden color of a hazy IPA. I think a lot of people like. I really like coffee. I roast coffee and I brew beer. This coffee in here was roasted by Horizon Line coffee roasters here in Des Moines. They're kind of down by the Sculpture Garden and Django, that area.
They're by Exile. You can say Exile.
Oh, right.
Video.
By
it's
Exile,
fine. They're
sure.
by Exile.
They're by a lot of things.
Yeah.
But we chose a naturally fermented coffee. That's what I picked out for the beer when I made a 5-gallon batch that was picked. I wanted to get those natural fruity flavors that really would complement the fruity hops. So I went with Galaxy and HBC 586, which is just a stupid experimental name. They decided never to move forward past the numbers. But those are two really fruity hops, think like passionfruit. And the coffee, a lot of people are used to espresso or dark roast coffee and those like dark chocolate and roasty flavors. This is not that at all. It's really light roasted. The natural fermentation, some coffee roasters even put flavor notes on their coffee. And I had one this morning where one of the flavor notes was mosaic hops. The flavors of these light roast coffees are very reminiscent of what the hops give you. And I think paired together in this beer, I think it turned out very well. It's really fruity and fun.
Let's get it open and taste it. And
yeah, absolutely.
Pour yourself one. Unless a whole beer is too much for this point in the day, which I get.
It's almost lunchtime.
That's right. Yeah, I think this beer looks beautiful, looks super enticing, and the aroma is absolutely wild. Just like
it's really fruity. When I stopped by for the canning, and it was spilled all over the floor of the canning machine. It was like, it smells pretty good in here.
Yeah.
The color is perfect.
It is. Yeah, the haze is great. We didn't start. When we make the Wort Challenge, it's intended to be kind of like a beer or a base that can kind of go a bunch of different ways, and then we tweaked it a little bit for the commercial scale up, but we didn't do too much to it. You were right. It was basically kind of a perfect hazy base.
It was pretty much right there. I think the yeast, and then we made maybe a slight malt change that made it just a little hazier. But I think most people will hear coffee and look at this beer and think, that's not a stout. Like there just aren't a lot of light coffee beers on the market, if any, which was part of why I wanted to make it. I thought it'd be fun and different.
This is, for years, we've been making a hazelnut coffee beer, Scottish ale, in the fall, and it'll go through the centrifuge ahead of Des Moines IPA going through the centrifuge, and our main centrifuge operator, Sean, is always like, he's got the coffee smell and the hop smell in the centrifuge room at the same time from what it dumps out, and he's just always like, we gotta make a coffee IPA. We gotta make a coffee IPA. It's like, yeah, someday we will. Well, that day is today.
You ever blend those together?
What's that?
Just grab like Des Moines IPA.
We should. I bet he has, actually, with how much he's talked about it.
Someone has to have.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both on tap.
Yeah, no doubt. Sure. Well, thanks for being the impetus behind us finally making a coffee IPA. I think it's delicious. If you don't like coffee, don't let it deter you. If you don't like hops, don't let it deter you. This is just juicy and fruity, and I know you guys like that. Get down here, join us this weekend, and give it a try.
Cheers.
Yeah, the coffee is really singing.
It turned out nice. It's a little less strong than the small batch was, I think, the coffee.
I agree.
But I think that might be ideal. I thought it was a little too strong.
In the small batch?
Yeah.
That's, I think, you know, when we were tasting out the Bright Tank, I think we were like, I could put more coffee in this. And I did. So I think your recipe translated worked out to 7.5 pounds, and I put 8 pounds in because I was like, that's like a little on the light side. But
Right.
Yeah.
It's, for a small sample when you're drinking just a little bit, I think you want more of all the flavors.
Yes, but as you get all the way through a glass.
Drinking a whole 16-ounce can, this is a really nice balance.
I agree. I agree completely.